In the complex web of relationships that define the bold and the beautiful, few triangles have endured with the passionate intensity of Ridge, Taylor, and Brooke. In the latest shocking twist of this decades-long saga, Ridge Forrester finds himself once again at an emotional crossroads after discovering Taylor Hayes has been harboring a devastating secret, a continuing affair with a South African doctor named John that threatens to upend the delicate balance of power among these three iconic characters. The secret comes to light. For months, Taylor Hayes has been projecting an image of complete devotion to Ridge, convincing him that their rekindled relationship represented a mature, stable choice after years of emotional turbulence. Ridge, exhausted from the endless cycle of passion and pain with Brooke, had finally committed fully to Taylor, believing he was making the healthiest choice for his future. The fashion house patriarch had been telling anyone who would listen that this time was different, that he and Taylor had found solid ground together at last. The revelation began innocuously enough when Eric Forrester hired a private detective to investigate some inconsistencies in Taylor's recent travel schedule. Initially conceived as a simple background check related to Forrester Creations' business dealings, the investigation revealed something far more personal and devastating. The detective discovered that during Taylor's medical volunteer work in South Africa, she had developed a deep romantic relationship with a fellow doctor named John. What was more shocking wasn't just the affair itself, but the evidence that Taylor and John had maintained their relationship in secret, even as she recommitted to Ridge in Los Angeles. Photos of clandestine meetings, text messages exchanged at odd hours, and even video of Taylor passionately embracing John during what was supposed to be a medical conference painted an undeniable picture of deception. When Eric first received this information, he wrestled with whether to share it with his son, knowing the revelation would devastate Ridge once again. The confrontation. Ridge's discovery of Taylor's betrayal came during a particularly poignant moment, as he was reviewing designs for their upcoming vow renewal ceremony. Eric finally decided truth was necessary and arranged a private meeting with Ridge, Taylor, and Brooke present. The atmosphere was tense as Eric methodically presented the evidence of Taylor's ongoing relationship with John. "I don't understand," Ridge had said, his voice barely audible as he stared at the photographs. "All this time, Taylor? While I've been promising you forever, you've been living a double life." Taylor's composure crumbled as she attempted to explain that her relationship with John was complicated, that it had begun during a vulnerable time while working together, saving lives in South Africa. She claimed she had tried to end it multiple times, but couldn't bring herself to completely sever ties with someone who understood her medical passion so deeply. "I never meant to hurt you, Ridge. I thought I could handle both worlds. I convinced myself that what John and I shared was separate from us, that it wouldn't affect what we were building," Taylor explained through tears, her justifications ringing hollow in the stunned silence of the room. Ridge's reaction shifted from shock to cold fury as the full weight of betrayal settled on him. "All those times you accused Brooke of being unfaithful, of being incapable of commitment. You were projecting your own guilt," Ridge realized aloud, years of misplaced blame suddenly crystallizing into clarity. The aftermath. The exposure of Taylor's affair sent shockwaves through the Forrester family. Steffi, devastated by her mother's deception, struggled to reconcile the paragon of virtue she had idealized with the flawed, duplicitous woman revealed by Eric's investigation. Thomas, ever loyal to Taylor, attempted to justify her actions by pointing to Ridge's own history of vacillation between her and Brooke. For Ridge, the revelation triggered a profound period of introspection. The man who had spent decades torn between two women suddenly found himself questioning every choice, every commitment he had ever made. Had his indecision somehow contributed to Taylor's need to seek validation elsewhere? Or had he simply been blinded by his desire to believe in a perfect relationship that never truly existed? In his confusion and pain, Ridge found himself gravitating toward the one constant in his life, Brooke Logan. Despite their tumultuous history, Brooke responded with compassion rather than triumph. She offered Ridge not just comfort, but understanding free of judgment. "I know what it's like to make mistakes, Ridge," Brooke told him during a quiet moment at her cabin. "To hurt the people you love most. I've been the villain in this story so many times. But what I've learned is that we're all just trying to find our way. Sometimes we get lost." The return to Brooke. As Ridge processed Taylor's betrayal, memories of Portofino began flooding back with renewed clarity. The magical moments he shared with Brooke on that Italian coastline took on new significance, not just as romantic nostalgia, but as evidence of a connection that had withstood countless trials. While Taylor had presented herself as the safe, moral choice, it was Brooke who had consistently fought for their love, even when it seemed impossible. Eric, witnessing his son's renewed appreciation for Brooke, felt vindicated in his long-held belief that Ridge and Brooke were truly meant for each other. For years, he had championed their relationship, believing they shared something rare and irreplaceable. Taylor's deception only confirmed what he had always suspected, that Ridge and Brooke's bond was the authentic love story at the heart of the Forrester legacy. In a moment of clarity, Ridge realized that his journey between these two women had finally reached its conclusion. "I've been searching for certainty my entire life," he told Brooke as they stood in the Forrester living room where so many pivotal moments had transpired. "I thought I found it with Taylor, but it was built on lies. With you, even through our worst moments, there's always been truth. Messy, complicated truth, but truth nonetheless." The wedding plans. In a decisive move that signaled the end of decades of indecision, Ridge proposed to Brooke, not with grand gestures or public declarations, but with simple, heartfelt sincerity. Their wedding plans quickly took shape, with the ceremony set to take place in the same Portofino location that had once witnessed their deep connection years ago. As news of their engagement spread, reactions were predictably mixed. Hope embraced her mother's happiness, while Steffi struggled with divided loyalties. Taylor, upon learning of Ridge and Brooke's wedding plans, fell into a period of self-destructive behavior reminiscent of her earlier battles with alcoholism and depression. Most devastatingly, Taylor reached out to John in South Africa, hoping to fully commit to the relationship she had kept hidden for so long, only to discover that he had moved on, unwilling to remain her secret any longer. The realization that she had sacrificed her relationship with Ridge for a connection that couldn't endure left Taylor completely adrift. Full circle. As Ridge and Brooke prepare to exchange vows once more, the fashion world of Los Angeles watches with a mixture of hope and skepticism. This isn't the first time these two have stood at the altar, promising forever. But there's something different in Ridge's demeanor now. A certainty that comes not from idealism, but from having finally faced the truth about all his relationships. Taylor's betrayal, painful as it was, freed Ridge from the impossible pursuit of perfection that had characterized so much of his life. In Brooke, he has found not the flawless partner he once thought he wanted, but the authentic love he truly needs. The bold and the beautiful continues to remind us that in life, as in fashion, it's not perfection that endures, but authenticity. As Ridge and Brooke move toward their future together, The shadow of Taylor's deception serves as a reminder that sometimes the most valuable relationships aren't the ones that appear perfect, but the ones that survive imperfection.